for tuning in to the Illuminations Podcast. We love having you here. It is our mission to be a beacon of light on your journey towards conscious and mindful living. In our weekly episode, we bring you inspiring change makers in the field of spirituality, healing, personal growth, and wellness who share their insight and expertise so you can navigate your way to a happier, healthier, and more purposeful life.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Illuminations World Podcast. We are back with you with another speaker, with another topic. So the topic of today is why healing mother wound is crucial for women and motherhood. So before I introduce the speaker, I really want to share her story. She has quite a story. Kavita was suffering from chronic postpartum distress that wasn't abating despite her son being over 3 years old. It was through Dr. Shefali Sabari, Oprah's go-to for parenting, that she discovered what no therapist had been able to help with. Her postpartum distress was the result of deep childhood trauma and abandonment. Kavita grew up with a mentally unwell mother. Her illness was never diagnosed and she continued to deteriorate. It is Kavita's deepest intention to help parents the way no one helped her, so children receive the presence and nurture they truly deserve. So she is actually currently doing her master's in holistic psychology, specializing in adverse childhood experiences, child therapy, and trauma at California Institute of Integral Studies. Through her weekly columns in College Times, Kavita tackles parenting and its challenges so we can raise whole and happy children. Thank you so much, Kavita, for being with me here today to talk about this very unique topic. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that lovely introduction. And I actually wanted to bawl when you read it. Every time I'm just like, wow. No, but thank you for having me.
So let's just dive deep into it, shall we? Mm-hmm. So can you please tell us a little bit about what is motherhood wound?
You know, I wrote about this a little while ago, and imagine if your first taste of love is tainted. That sets the note for the rest of your life. You know, if there is one person who defines love for you, it is your mother. And if your first taste of that is laced with pain, then you don't know anything else. You don't know how to love without pain. You don't know love at all. So the mother wound is more than just a wound. It is the beginning of life. So you are clawing your way out into the world without a safety net. And without the only safety net that matters. So it is everything. It permeates your entire existence.
And how exactly does it do that? Can you give us an example?
Okay, I'll give you an example with me. Because as I told you earlier, we are our own biggest textbooks.
I love that.
And so I grew up with, a mentally unwell mother, and I don't think I was ever meant to be a child, because my first memory of even being with my mother was me comforting her. Wow. Because I always knew she was broken, you see. So there was no real maternal love there. I was a mother from the moment I was born almost. I never felt like a child with her and with any other part of my life, even with my dad, because he was so lost. And we're South Indian, we're Indian. I don't know what people know about us Indians. We may be the land of yoga and actual deep spirituality, but in modern day India, nobody really talks about mental health. And especially, in Tamil Nadu, which is where I'm from, we're all about the brain, and my father is that typical Chennai, IIT, cerebral guy. So when he was confronted with this, he had no idea what to do. And so he shoved it under the carpet and just left her to me. And my sister is younger than me, and she didn't have the wherewithal. So when I was 6.5 years old and she was 4, we were left in boarding school, and they were in Africa. So how does the mother wound impact you, Pia? It starts right from the beginning. It destroys everything. A woman is the heart of the home. A woman is the beginning of her children's lives. A woman keeps a marriage together. A woman creates the atmosphere at home. And when there is no woman, when there is no soul holding these other souls together, everything is broken. Everything is broken. There is no natural way of love. So we were left on the other side of the world. They fled to Africa, where she continued to disintegrate because my father didn't really know how to deal with her. And we were just abandoned in boarding school. And I took care of my sister at the age of 6.5, and she was 4. So yes, how does the mother wound impact you? Everything. It impacts everything. If your mother is not capable of nurture, or she's not okay, you don't know any nurture. You live in trauma right from the beginning. Your existence begins with trauma.
Wow. And now that, since you're doing this kind of work, now that you're studying, right before going into this kind of work, what drove you into it? So what were you like? What was the impact of this trauma before you sought out help?
I just did not want to be myself. I had so much shame.
Shame about
who I am and where I come from. There was shame. There was so much shame, and there was like, I don't want to be associated with my family, even though they love me, but it's a place of pain. So I wanted to run as far away from them as possible and be anyone but myself. Funnily enough, despite everything I've been through, and my personality is very much of someone who is emotional and is intense. I'm not the lights on the surface person. I never even considered psychology because I couldn't look mental health in the face. It's just so difficult and painful for me to even confront that because it's so much a part of my entire life. So what was I like? I flitted from one profession to the other, things that really didn't call out to me. I was just playing a role. And, I wrote about this a few months ago, but there is this certain personality type called the good child, the gifted child. There's this book by Alice Miller called The Drama of the Gifted Child. The child is not gifted because they're talented in any way, but they're gifted because they're good. They do exactly what they need to do to please their parents.
Is that the hero child that you would say?
Yeah, somebody who pleases their parents, who pleases everybody, who just, is good, well-behaved. So I did everything well, and I just went from one profession to the other. I did statistics and economics to please my father. And then I fell into publishing because of my friend. I had no other, and I'm a writer. So, but is it really me? I don't know. I don't even know who I was. And then finally, I think when I had my child, it became very obvious. I went from 100 to 0 overnight. I could not breathe. I literally could not be in the same room as him because I used to take care of my mother at night when she was unwell. And when I say take care of her, to the point where she would be in agony and I would be trying to hold her down from hurting herself, So those memories I had blocked. And when my child cried, I could not breathe. Like I would go into my entire chest closed up. And actually when he was about a year old, I lost my voice for 6 months. And it would not come back. And I didn't know what was happening. I did not want to be around him. I couldn't function. I was in such survival mode. It was just a mess. And on the outside, everything looked okay. And then I was grasping and holding on to other people to rescue me. And there's no one can rescue you. After some time, people cannot hold you when you are so broken.
Did you know this was postpartum distress at the time?
I knew something was very, very wrong. And I tried to get the help. I went to therapy. But people don't know how to help you. I mean, mainstream therapy does not know how to help you. Or maybe I went for years and there was no shift. Absolutely no shift.
Because
they just were not able to get. I don't think there's any integration in the therapy. It's very much Western talk therapy. I don't think that really works. And maybe I I truly believe that you have to be ready. No matter how good a therapist is, you have to be ready. And I think I hadn't died yet. So
wow, that's a very strong statement. I'd love to.
You have to die.
Wow.
You have to die. So then when and the thing is, I wanted to be a good mother because I never had one. And I've always loved children. I love children. I'm the person who will change diapers, who will babysit, So when I wanted to be a good mother to my son. And with that desire, I was like, I will work on this, And I finally resigned from my job, which I was so ready to leave as soon as I had my child. But it took me 3 years to resign. So I finally resigned, and then I was so lost. I was like, I need to start this business, and I need to start this, and I need to do that, because I was so lost. And then COVID happened, and I could do nothing. And right before COVID hit in 2019, I met Dr. Shafali. I interviewed her, and I heard her speak at the Sharjah Entrepreneurship Festival. And I had been following her. Like I had been, I'd read her book, and I had followed her and listened to her, but hearing her in person and speaking to her, and then realizing that the reason I couldn't be a mother is because I never had one.
Wow.
It's such a simple sentence. You can't be a mother because you never had one, but no one told me that. No therapist told me that. Not one. When she said that, I was like, oh my God, that makes complete sense. So when COVID happened and nothing was working out, I just started studying under her. I did this small course. And then one thing led to another. And she has a conscious parenting coaching program. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to, number one, help myself. And I want to, and as you unlock those layers and go within yourself, you start realizing who you are is the pain. And who you are is defined by your ability to rise from this. And suddenly I saw my life crystal clear. And then after that, I went to, I got certified. It's a 6-month course. And I started an Instagram account about, I think, right before I started, while I was studying with her, I just started it. And then it just happened very organically, where I knew I wanted to learn more. And then she told me about this university, which has body, mind, soul healing, where she went. And I applied. And now I work with parents and people who are not even parents, because I believe that the inner child, we are all parents before we have children. And it is only when we have an outer child that we actually, most of us are motivated to look at our inner child.
So I want to dive a little bit into your personal healing journey with this mother wound.
Yes.
So when you first acknowledged this, what was that healing journey like? What came up? And how, when you now reflect back into your past, what are your learnings?
That's such a big question. Do you want this to be a monologue? Listen, I was so lost, and I think I never really grew up because I had no one nurturing me in many ways.
So that's the key. Like, yeah,
I'm just a child. I couldn't, my clothes were inside out. I'm the person who looks put together, but when you look closely, my clothes are inside out. I may have a stain on my dress. I don't know how to pay my bills. I don't know how to, manage any emotion. Like, I was on such survival and intense mode with taking care of my mother, but something small would happen and I would have to call up my friend and be like, oh, this happened. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Like, incapable of doing anything on my own, lost and shattered. And I held on to this. I needed people to rescue me for everything. For everything. So it got untenable after a moment. When somebody's so reactive, something happens and you're like, oh, this happened, and and help me.
And I imagine that must have really took a hit on your self-esteem,
I had no worth. I had no worth about who I was. I thought I was so broken and unworthy, because when your mother especially is incapable of being there and telling you, I love you, I'm here for you, you're amazing, you grow up feeling worthless, that you are someone only if this person loves you, or if maybe that person is better than you and you want to be more like them so that you're loved, or,
so maybe constantly seeking that love and affection that you never got.
Yes.
At a very subconscious level.
Yes. And doing it at any cost, not being yourself. Wow. Because who are you? Your mother never loved you, and there was no presence. And I don't think it's not because she didn't love me. She loves me with every bit of her broken self. But she just wasn't there, and neither was my father, and it was very crucial years of my life. But now, I mean, they're just wonderful. They're so supportive of where I am. I speak so openly, and they're so proud of me. So I'm very blessed in many ways too. You know, it's very synchronous. You get what you need to go to the next chapter. But how did it impact me? I think it really impacted my healing journey is very much when I gave birth to my child.
Right.
Because I think he woke me up to my inadequacies, and I wanted to be a mother to him because I know what it's like to not have a mother.
Wow.
You know, and as I've told you before, I absolutely adore children. Even before I had a child, I mean, they speak to me. I love them. And so when I actually, that desire to be there for him, you know, and I will do anything for him. And you know, Pia, when you go through this healing journey, you want to die. It's so painful to relive every bit of that pain over and over again. It is so hard. There are so many times where I just wanted to give up. But it is his face. It is in wanting to be his mother that I have had the courage to bear the pain. Wow. So the mother wound is a gift, and the mother wound is a curse. But the mother wound is, you can be your own mother. Because when you don't have a mother, you know the pain of not having a mother. You know, so in becoming his mother, I've become mine.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so, so beautiful. What I really want to ask you is, I'm sure that it must have been a journey for you, right?
Yeah.
So if you could share some words of wisdom or some tips for the mothers out there who are probably in that phase right now, what would that be?
Well, I would say you are not bad. You just don't have the skill yet. You know, children can't walk before they crawl. So if you can't be there for your child, or you're struggling with something, it's because no one gave you the skills. No one taught you how. Independence comes from dependence. You know, you needed to be completely dependent on your parents and for them to be there for you unconditionally, from your mother especially, for you to have the courage and the skill and the emotional resilience to be there for your child. So if you're failing quote unquote, because I don't think anyone's really failing. If you feel like you're failing, it's because you weren't given what you needed. So it's time to give yourself. And how do you give yourself? You go back to those moments in your childhood. And, you know, usually it starts showing up in your life. Things stop working. Relationships stop working. You start breaking, you know, you start having a midlife crisis. I mean, I know you're a child of 25, but mine was a midlife truth, my midlife path. I mean, I had him when I was 36. I'm 42 now, and I left my job at 40. I mean, it is just exactly at 40 that everything came together for me, you know. But at some point in your life, all the lies fall away and you have to confront who you are. You just have to confront who you are. And when you confront that person, show them love and compassion. And look at the ways in which your life is broken. That is the way that you need help. And sit with yourself. Soothe yourself. Bear the pain. Tolerate it. And hold your hand. You know, in my darkest of times, when I'm particularly triggered, I'll give you an example quickly. My mother just had a knee surgery. And she's much more stable now because she's on medication. There's no other way with her because, you know, But everything in my life is much more stable now. But just that knee surgery triggered so much pain. It threw me back to the times when she was flailing and desperate. And I was like a 18-year-old, 13-year-old, 12-year-old, 8-year-old taking care of her, you know. And all I did during that time is I took myself for walks and sat with myself. And this is, of course, I've developed the skill now. And I held myself, and for me, it's always my throat. I always feel a lump in my throat. Notice your body. There is always a part in your body that is particularly sensitive, that acts up more than others. You know, for me, I lose my voice. Not since that time, because I found an amazing healer who helped me, which I want to talk about her. She's amazing. But I touch my throat because I always feel a lump, and I just tell myself, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. And as the tears come, the only thing I have to say is, I am with you. And you will be shocked at how powerful those words are, because we only need presence to heal. And the only presence we really need is ours.
Because it's when you think about it, it's in a way you being that mother to yourself, you giving
Exactly.
that loving, nurturing energy.
Yes.
Because that's exactly what you get from a mother, right? Like
Yes.
that loving, nurturing energy. So one tip is for sure
Yes.
being that mother or giving yourself that loving, nurturing energy.
Just say, I am with you. You know, I mean, if you say loving, it may sound overwhelming, but just say, I am with you. So when you're crying, you are in pain, just say, I am with you. I will not leave you. I am here. Nothing to fix, nothing to say. I am with you. That is the number
That's
one.
so powerful.
It's the only thing that matters. We only need presence. We need nothing else. You know, so yes, that's number one. And number two, I would say is there is nothing on the outside. So any relationship in your life that's not working out or anything in your life that is not exactly how you need it to be, you know, it is not about that. It is about why is it like that? You know, so
Can
for
you
example,
elaborate? Yeah.
I know ever since I've started this, like, I mean, a lot of things have changed in my life, right? So why was that relationship not working out? Because I lacked independence. I was so broken, you know, or why is this not working out? I was so broken. Why did I feel so lost when my child cried? Because I didn't have the skills. So it's never about the outside. It's always about, why is this bringing this up in me? And then, so it's about deconstructing the trigger. So when my child cried, why can't I breathe? I can't breathe because, you know, he needs me and he wants me to be there for him and I can't be there for him right now. I'm so tired. Why are you so tired? Because I have no help. I have no one to take care of me. I have no, you know, I'm so exhausted. Why are you so exhausted? Because I need to sleep. Why do you need to sleep? Because I've never slept. Why have you never slept? Because you spent so many nights awake taking care of your mother. You know, and so when you realize a night is a particularly traumatic time, then I go back to that time that I'm triggered by, that is the heart of the wound, when I took care of my mother that time, and sit with myself in the memory as I hold the part of my body that shows it the most, and just with presence, stay there and feel the pain. You know?
Why is it important to feel the pain?
Because the pain is a message. You know what leprosy is? Leprosy is a disease of the nerves when they stop working. So when you hit a table, when you scratch yourself, you don't know what you're doing, so you start falling apart. Pain saves you. Pain is not the enemy. Pain will save you much more than happiness or anything else ever will. It is a message to save you. Look at lepers. When you become an emotional leper, you start falling apart. You know, listen to the signals and just feel the pain. It will leave your body. It is taking you to a place you need to go to heal. You know?
So it's a message.
It is a message. So if you ever doubt it, think of leprosy. What is leprosy? It is when you lose sensation in your nerves. You don't feel pain. You know?
So number 2 is to
Deconstruct your triggers.
deconstruct. And
Every time you will see something in your life that you react to strongly, there's a wound at the heart of that. So pay attention to that. Who triggers you in your life? What is it that you have an extreme reaction to? Is it your husband? Is it your friend? Is it your child? You know, is it work? You know, what is it that's causing an extreme reaction? You know, and that there's a wound at the heart of that.
because what I love about what you just said is, because it sounds like it's all about taking accountability.
Completely. So number 1, presence. Number 2, deconstruct your triggers. Pay attention to your current life. The present will lead you to the past. You know, our bodies are just so beautiful. They always tell you where you need to heal. So just pay attention, you know?
And then once you've, let's say, acknowledged
Yes.
that part or felt the pain,
Yes.
then how do we then move forward? Because that's one part of it, right? But another important part, which I think is allowing yourself to move forward. So how do you take steps to do that?
It's so important that's such an important question. And, you know, it took me some time to get there. But I think the first step is always to deconstruct your triggers, you know, and let yourself feel the pain and with presence. And as you start doing that, you automatically start feeling more free inside you. Your body starts feeling lighter. You start feeling more like yourself. You know, you have of course, it's a roller coaster ride. It's up and down, it's up and down, it's up and down. But you start somehow healing. Have you seen Moana? You know that last scene where I forgot the name of the monster, when everything falls apart and her beauty comes through? That is what you feel like. The pain starts leaving you and your true self starts shining through without the trauma and without the pain, without the reactivity, at least in spurts, till you're triggered again, you know? And naturally when that happens, listen, this is a step-by-step process. But the place that I am at right now, which is where, I mean, I'm not healed. Nobody ever is. But I think it's a journey and you gradually start getting perspective. The place that I'm at right now is that I know that there is a larger purpose to pain. And I have complete faith in everything that happens to me. You know, Pia, I used to hate my life and wonder why I had been put in this position where my mother is like this and I don't have this. Now, when I see that I have discovered myself, I have clarity. I was never meant to be a child. I have always been meant to be a mother.
Wow.
You know, you are born with a life that you have chosen. So I chose somebody who could not be my mother, and I've been mothering her right from the beginning.
From a very soul's perspective.
Wow. So when you get that perspective, as you start finding your meaning in life, you know,
you then stop being a victim.
Exactly. Then you start realizing, like, so anything that happens to my life right now, I just surrender to it because I'm like, who am I to question the beauty? I am going to surrender. So then you get complete faith that everything is happening for you, not against you. This world is not a bad place. It's beautiful. And there's this thing that I tell a lot of my clients, and, you know, I don't remember where I heard it, but if a child was given a box of chocolates and $1 million check, what would the child choose?
Chocolate.
Yeah, but what is better for the child? The $1 million check. So you are the child and the universe is the person handing these things. Let the universe choose for you and surrender. The pain, the trauma, these are all waves.
Wow.
Coast the wave so that you can actually find your meaning. And there is a deeper meaning to life.
This is so beautiful.
And you know, the moment I realized this was actually so synchronous. So it's just the most, I think this is the most profound moment of my life when I applied to the school after Dr. Shafali. And I was at the information session, and, you know, my husband he's very supportive, but I don't really talk about exactly what I'm doing at every point. He knows I'm applying to school. He doesn't know where. He doesn't know anything. I asked him where the Shri Yantra symbol was from. And they said, oh, this is from the Aurobindo Ashram, where in India, because it was founded by the Aurobindo Ashram. My husband was brought up in the Aurobindo Ashram. His great-grandfather was the first registrar of the school, and his parents went there. His brother lives and works in the ashram. He's an ashramite. And, you know, I honestly, why did I marry this man? Why am I with this man? I was married before I left my first husband, you know, and then why did I marry this man? Why? What was it about this guy? You know, for me to even marry him, I had to see how incompatible I was with what I had done before. Why did I marry him? You know, and if you see the two of us, we're very different. But actually now, it makes sense, right? It's the most beautiful, synchronous moment. It's like the dots of my life were always aligning.
Wow.
You know? And for that, I am so grateful and I am of service. And that is how you approach life. That pain is a part of the process of revelation. And when you realize that there is a bigger act at play and we are just small, and this is where the spirituality comes into play, right? Not in the beginning. First you feel the pain. First you go through the psychological experience and you go through your trauma, and that's constantly there. It's not like it's ever finished. Mm-hmm. But you have to feel that completely, then reveal yourself to then experience spirituality. I'm only now getting into a spiritual realm. I've never been a meditator. I've never been I've never done hypnotherapy. I've never done any of that. Now I think I'm ready. Do you see?
Because a lot of concepts that you're saying, it's so in sync with what we do in hypnotherapy as well. And this makes so much sense, just that you're taking a different route, but it all comes together. And what I love about this is that you're giving out so many nuggets for all these mothers who are probably going through the same thing, right?
Yes.
What are some do's and don'ts that you have for mothers out there right now?
Well, you know, I just feel like the most important don't is don't abandon your child. You know, I mean, maybe I'm coming from my own pained place, but I'm like, when I say don't abandon your child, I mean, don't abandon your inner child. You know, and don't abandon your outer child. Like, it's so easy for you to abandon those and neglect it. I've seen it.
What are the different ways in which a parent or a mom can abandon? And
So
it's
for
not
example,
necessarily leaving them. It can be many other ways.
So many other ways. You see your child not doing exactly what you want them to do for them to be happy or successful, and you push them, or you yell at them, or you scream at them, and, you know, do your homework, or go to school and don't cry, and come on. That is abandoning your outer child and also your inner child, because you're not asking yourself, why am I so triggered by this? Show your child love, yourself and your outer child. Anything that's wrong, show yourself love. Be compassionate. Don't push yourself. My number one advice is do not push yourself. You know, because when you break, your child will break, your home will break, your life will break. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle. If you can't do something, it's okay. I screw up on a day-to-day basis. There's so many things that I drop the ball on, you know, but I never shame myself anymore. I'm like, okay, I know we feel bad about that. It is okay. We are overwhelmed, you know. People think I'm crazy. I talk to myself like this all the time. You know, sometimes in the car when I'm driving, you know. But, you know, they must think, okay, thank God now we have Bluetooth in the car. They may think I'm talking to someone on the phone. Half the time I'm just talking to myself. It's okay, Kavita, that you lost your way on Google Maps. You know, you have never been good with direction. It's okay, darling. Take a deep breath. We're fine.
But that's skill in itself, right?
Exactly. Because, oh my God, I'm late. Oh my God, I'm late. No, take a deep breath and be like, it's okay. I make a mistake. I forgive myself. I'm endlessly forgiving myself. I'm an endless well of forgiveness and warmth. You know, I'm an endless well of that. So, number one, do. Only love yourself. Never shame yourself if your career isn't where it should be, or if your child isn't where he should be. There's nothing bad. Like, you are where you are, exactly where you're meant to be. So just trust and surrender and just be kind to yourself, number one. Don't push yourself. If you feel like you're exhausted, please take a break. Find a way to take a break. Find the resources, create the friendships. We live in Dubai, by the grace of God, we can, you know, help is a reality. Get the help, you know, and if you can't get help, if that's not something you're comfortable with, then get your partner to help you. If you don't have a partner to help you, then find a community of friends. Yeah. You know, I recently did this talk with these group of widows who lost their husbands very early and suddenly, and they're raising children on their own. And, you know, they're supporting their families, so they can't afford the help. But they found each other. You know, they have this community of women who are so endlessly supportive of each other. So you can always find someone who will support you. Find your community. You know, open yourself up to that.
Wow,
Don't feel like you're alone. You are not alone.
But how do you not feel that way when let's say you don't have a partner, let's say you don't enjoy your own company and you're a mother and things are going really hard. How do you not feel alone?
You need to get the help. There's always someone there. You know, maybe you don't have a friend, but today, if you listen to this podcast, reach out to me.
Wow.
You know, there is always someone, you know, when you, and this is the most beautiful part of the world actually that people don't realize, because we've been told that the world is bad and that nobody's there for you and you're alone and it's
you need
cruel.
to take care of yourself.
But the world is good. The universe is so benevolent. It is so kind. And if you actually stop, you are getting exactly what you need to heal. You know, there's always something there. We're so wired to think of the negative. we're in such victim mode, you forget to realize what is there that I can use to help myself. So you may be alone crying with no help, no partner, a child, and big bills to pay. But even listening to maybe this, and then you reach out to maybe me, you, and then of course you're willing to help. Even a conversation, even pointing them in the right direction, maybe helping them find a community,
Absolutely.
It's always there.
Thank you so much, Kavita, for sharing all these nuggets of wisdom and your story. I know it's very personal, and I really, really am grateful that you shared it with me as well as all the other listeners that are listening to us right now. So before we end, is there any last words, anything that you would like to share?
It's so funny that you just said what you said about my story being personal. And I would not talk about it before. But I think your deepest pain is your biggest gift to the world. So be vulnerable, open yourself up. Don't worry about what people think of you. Don't try to maintain an image. Be real. Show yourself. Nothing is personal. We're all connected. We are all one. Every story is a gift to another. So, be an open book. Be vulnerable. It is your gift to someone else. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kavita. And thank you to all the listeners who are listening right now. We will be back with another speaker and another topic. Until then, take care, stay safe.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love to have you tune in again next week as we discuss more engaging topics on relationships, health, career, self-care, and spirituality. If you'd like to help support this podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave us a rating and review. We'd be extremely grateful. To catch all the latest from us, you can also follow us on Instagram at Illuminations World or visit the Illuminations World YouTube channel for more inspiring content. See you again next week, and until then, live light.